Hello, my name's Amy and welcome back to another writing vlog. Now, it has been at least a month since I last filmed anything, simply because it has been the school holidays. There's about another week and a half before my daughter goes back to school, so filming and finding writing time is still quite difficult at the moment. But we are on the verge of our summer season with work coming to an end, so I'm starting to find a little bit more time for myself, and I have really missed picking up the camera and chatting about my writing life. So to start the vlog off, let's do a very quick recap. We don't really need to do a life update because honestly nothing has changed, and to be honest I haven't made massive progress in my writing since my last couple of videos either. My very last video was on outlining using the snowflake method. That is still a work in progress and I'm going to be going back to that in the autumn. My big priority right now is finishing the Goldstone Tower. Now, as is often the case with my writing projects, this only took me a couple of months to draft and I have now spent a good 4 months editing it. I'm into the final stages though. All the big developmental passes are done, the story is solid, I think the character arcs are too, and I'm really now into the copy edits, which always feels like it should be a quick process and never is. I'd wanted it to be done by the end of August at the very latest, but I'm now thinking it's going to creep over into September because my writing time is just so limited right now. But I am enjoying trying to find some balance and routine in my writing life again. I took a good couple of weeks off writing at the start of August. We went on holiday there and visited some family in the southwest of England, and I had kind of intended to do some outlining while we were there, but I didn't do a single bit of writing. Honestly, all I did was read a couple of books. So I felt very behind when we got back home, and it honestly took me a good week, possibly closer to 2, to really feel in tune with my writing again. I was struggling to find the time or the motivation to sit down and do any work at all. I do feel like I'm now finding my feet again though. I'm having to write in the evenings. Not my preference, as I've said many times before, but that is just a necessity right now. I'm typically sitting down every night at the moment and maybe spending 40 minutes editing the Goldstone Tower. Then I might spend some time on some marketing or planning for future books. Then I will read, and to be honest, at that point my evening is pretty much over. But to save these evenings feeling too much like work or being too grueling, I am really trying to enjoy them and make the most of them. They are a very slow, quiet time just for me. Yes, I am working, but it's also work I enjoy. So I make a cup of tea, I have a snack, I light a candle, and I'm trying to turn this into an integral part of my writing routine. It does mean that I am not gaming at all, and I don't know if I'm ever going to watch TV again at this point, but it's getting the work done. It means that the Goldstone Tower is inching closer to completion, and to be honest, it's not a bad way to spend my evenings. Now, my daughter is off at a birthday party today. I have got to work in the house though. As I said, our very busy summer season is coming to a close, but we're not quite there yet. I'm really looking forward to next week when things become quieter. But until then, I've got to get to work. I thought I would do a quick update on the barn because this is taking up a lot of my time at the moment. So as you can see, we currently have no roof, which looks a little bit alarming, but this does actually mean that we're making really good progress. You can see this wall behind me has now got its internal skin and some windows in it, and the roof is off. So the next stage is going to be taking the timbers out of the roof so that we can replace both sides. And in here, once again, no roof. This side of the barn still has its had its original stone slates. We've taken those all off and they're going to be reused. And once we have put a new roof on and rebuilt some sections of wall and added internal walls to these existing walls, we will be getting a lot closer to having a watertight shell. So that's very exciting, even if it doesn't look like we're making much progress. So there she is. Honestly, things have to get worse before they get better, but that is just the nature of a renovation like this. You can see that we've restored quite a lot of the original pointing to the stonework on the outside, so it is just possible to get a sense of how everything's going to look when it's finished. So whilst we're out here and it's not raining and it's not windy, let's have a catch up on the writing front. I have still been copy editing the Goldstone Tower, and honestly I'm feeling pretty frustrated about how slow it is going. I have not even finished one chapter this week. Now granted, I'm on chapter 5, which is the longest chapter in the book by quite some margin. So in terms of number of words that I've got through, I'm making some progress, but it is just going so slowly, and I just want the book to be done, but I also don't want to rush the copy edit because I know it will be so much more polished if I take my time and do it properly. This is always a bit of a frustrating part of getting a book ready for publication because I'm really just ready to get it out there and be done with it and move on. I have a sequel I want to write, I've got other fantasy I want to write, I've got a completely separate trilogy to wrap up. There is so much I want to accomplish by the end of this year, and being stuck in the copy edits just feels like I am wading through mud. The finish line just never seems to get any closer. But to be honest, I felt the same when I was in the developmental edit stages with this book. They also took a really long time, but I did make it through, so I know I will again. All I can do at the moment is set myself a target time to work on the book every single day and really try and stick to those goals. So anyway, our work is pretty much done for the weekend. There are guests arriving in the house, which is just behind me today, and they are in until Tuesday. It's Saturday now, and actually the weather is quite nice. The nights have been really cold the last few days. Honestly, it has got quite close to freezing, and we're not even at the end of August yet. But there has been a little bit of sunshine today, which has been fantastic. So I think this afternoon, the best thing to do is try and get out and enjoy it. Good morning, another Friday has rolled around. We have officially come to the end of high season in our business, which is really just the school summer holidays. They are always incredibly busy for us. And I am starting to pick back up a bit more of a routine. Now, I am still doing all of my writing work at night. There is no way around that at the moment. I get so little quiet time during the day that I really have to wait until my daughter is in bed before I get anything done. But I have actually done quite a lot of work over the last week. I think I said in a previous clip that I was trying to romanticize these evening writing sessions and give myself something to look forward to. A cup of tea, a nice candle, a piece of cake, and that has been really working, alongside the fact that I just want the Goldstone Tower done at this point. So I'm now into chapter 9 with the copy edits. I think progress is moving a lot faster than it was when I last updated you. There's definitely still a lot to do, but the chapters in the second half of the book, and I'm quite close to the midpoint now, are definitely shorter. So it seems like there are more of them, but in terms of word count, I'm actually very close to halfway. And what's really great is I'm enjoying the story. The scene I edited last night really swept me along. The pacing was really good. I did have some doubts about parts of this story, and particularly in the first half, but rereading the book as I copy edit has really reminded myself that this story is strong, and I absolutely loved drafting it. I think a lot of that comes across in the almost finished product. So before I sign off for this week, I wanted to do a very quick book haul. Now, I very rarely buy physical books anymore simply because I do not have room to store them. But we have one very tiny bookshelf, and we cleared a few books off it the other day, sending them into storage with the rest of our collection, and that gave me the space to pick up a couple of titles which I thought I would show you. So first up we have got The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. Now this one has been on my radar for quite a long time, but I hadn't exactly thought to pick it up. Now I don't know why, because it is, as far as I can tell, pretty political secondary world fantasy, and that is right up my alley. But then I heard Clarke on Breaking the Glass Slipper, which is a podcast, and she was talking about this series and about colonialism and about her characters, and I just absolutely loved the podcast so much. The way she spoke was so intelligent and full of humour and warmth, and it definitely inspired me to pick this book up. The tagline on the front says, "Every empire demands revolution," kind of giving me Andor vibes, and I really enjoyed Andor when we watched it a couple of months ago. And on the back it says, "An unmissable epic fantasy debut of uprising, espionage and empire." And I know the second book in the series is already out, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Now something a little different is A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. Now I think I have seen this one floating around online, and I'd kind of dismissed it because it didn't exactly sound like my thing. But then I saw the second book in the trilogy in Waterstones, and I was absolutely drawn in, first by the beautiful cover and then by the blurb, which was talking about a forest city, and it just sounded so appealing. Now the second book was not very clear that it was a second book, but I did look it up when I got home, discovered that this was the first one. Again, it has a really beautiful cover. The artwork is just absolutely stunning. This though I think more falls into that new adult borderline fantasy romance category. Now this is a subgenre that I have had a lot of trouble with. I often really like the premises of these books, and then I get into them and I find the characters kind of insufferable, and there is too much smut and not enough plot. I did read a review of this one though that said there is not too much smut in the first book. I should say I don't mind spicy scenes in books, I have no opposition to that, but I also really like a lot of character work and a lot of plot, and for me those things have to come first, which I don't always find in romantasy or whatever we're calling it now. So I'm hoping this particular book will build up the characters in the world a bit first and slowly introduce the romance. Now I have absolutely no idea whether I'm going to like this book, but it was just beautiful enough that I thought I would give it a go. And honestly, after I'd seen the second book in the bookshop, I could not stop thinking about it, which seemed a pretty good indicator that I needed to buy it. And with that, we're going to wrap this vlog up. I'm very ready for the summer to be over. I love having my daughter around, but also she really wants to go back to school, and I would really like to have more time to write. So from next week I will be starting to build up more of a writing routine again, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I will hopefully be vlogging more again too. I would love to go back to weekly vlogs if I can manage it, so look out for those. Until then, keep writing everyone, and I'll see you next time.